Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Honestly, being as transparent as I could possibly be right now, I was going to come on here and talk about AEW since they had their pay-per-view yesterday. But I guess I'll talk about that coming up sometime later on this week, because if you read my comment section in my videos, I'm glad that you do. If you don't, you should. And while you're there, make sure you comment yourself, give the video a like and a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video on all social media platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. But if you do read the comment section, you'll see that in the video that I posted yesterday, a lady named Donna, who is a admitted Florida State fan, if you could not tell by the comment she posted, she is an admitted Florida State fan, and she's pretty much already given up hope on the Florida State season. And I've been saying since about June that I have a feeling Florida State's going 8-4 this year, 9-3 maybe, but they could possibly be as bad as 6-6. So anybody that follows the channel and believes what I say should know that I didn't have a lot of high praise for Florida State going into the season. I even said that I thought Georgia Tech had a chance to hang with them, and I would not be shocked if Georgia Tech beat them, which of course they did. But of course Florida State's in the ACC, so I guess a lot of people must think that I'm one of those people that flies a conference flag. I'm not. That couldn't be farther from the truth. And I even made the comment on this channel, I believe, last football season, but it might have been the 2022 football season, that I was not going to talk about conference affiliation anymore. And when I said that, I was being as truthful as possible. But when you're asked about it, you have to, because of course on YouTube your page grows all the time. Unfortunately, not everybody that watches subscribes, but they still watch. And sometimes you get people that watch the channel that, live really far away, that have not watched a video before. They just see that you like a certain team, and I guess they start assuming certain things. So somebody asked me on my Facebook page yesterday, when I was talking about Florida State, I guess they read the comment that I sent back to Donna, and I pretty much told her that Florida State's going to be an average football team. And I guess this person thought, how can I talk bad about Florida State when I'm a Clemson fan? So I figured I'd make a video about this. And I've made a video before, but like I said, it's been 2 or 3 years, and you're always getting new viewers, new subscribers that want to know certain things. So I don't mind talking about it again. If you've heard this before, I'm sorry, but I'm sure I'll say something in this video different than what I said the last time I done a video about this. But let me make this abundantly clear. I am a Clemson fan, but I am not a conference fan. And I have said on here numerous times, I have never understood the whole conference thing. People have explained it to me. It's never made sense. It's never going to make sense, because it's only college football fans that do it. And it's only when people pull for a team and their team sucks and their team can't win, so their fallback is, well, we have a good conference. Who the heck cares? Florida State won the national championship in football back in 2013. And when that happened, just to see if there was any kind of truth to the whole conference stuff, I made a drive to Clemson, South Carolina, and I looked, and they had no banner on the campus, any of the stores, football stadium, nowhere. There was not a banner that said 2013 national champions. Why? Because Florida State won it. It did not benefit my team whatsoever. If it was possible that every single team in the ACC could go 0-12 except Clemson, I'd be perfectly fine with that. It does not do me any kind of justice and make me feel any kind of way if anybody else in that conference wins a game. If it doesn't benefit Clemson, I don't care. And another team doing good does not benefit my team in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But a lot of people, I think, read Donna's comment, and they think that since she made a comment about pulling for Clemson against Georgia, that I feel the same way she does. And obviously, of course, I want Clemson to beat Georgia because I'm a Clemson fan. But a lot of people hate the SEC, but it's not because of a certain team. It's because of the majority of the media and the majority of the fan bases in those conferences act like their IQ is only about 12. So when people act like their IQ is about 12, unless you like the same team they like, that's the way you feel. Now, I made a video last week saying that I don't watch any kind of ESPN, any kind of Fox Sports 1, any kind of CBS, anything anymore unless there's a game on the network, and I don't. But since I have a YouTube page, I try my best to watch as many YouTube people as I can and support their channel because they support mine, so I feel like it's right. But the YouTubers are not like the ESPN people or the Fox Sports 1 people. They don't fly a certain conference. Most of them pull for either a certain team or just a sport in general. But I won't tell you which channel it was, but I will tell you that I watch a West Virginia fans channel, I watch a Florida State fans channel, I watch a Miami fans channel, I watch an NC State fans channel, I watch some Clemson people's channel, I watch some Georgia fans channel, I watch some Tennessee fans channel, I even watch a channel that's about the Eagles and a channel about the Steelers. So I watch all of them. And the other day I was watching one of them's channel, and they were not a Georgia fan, but they were complimenting the Georgia team, and a Georgia fan got butthurt about it. And the person on the channel said, well, no wonder people hate Georgia. People give you a compliment, and you still get butthurt about it. And that's just the way most of the fans are. They can talk about your team, but if you talk about their team, even if it's good, if you don't like their team, they get butthurt over it. But most people just like fairness. And a lot of this got brought up last year because if you recall, Florida State got left out of the playoffs last year, which if I was a voter, I personally would have left them out. But before we expanded to a 12-team playoff, last year we only had 4 teams. So, of course, you got voted in. Some people say you put in the 4 best. Some say you put in the 4 most deserving. Did Florida State deserve to get in? Absolutely. You go through your conference undefeated. I don't care what conference it is. If it's a Power 5, now a Power 4 conference, and you're undefeated, you should be in the playoffs. So they deserve to get in? Yes. But were they one of the 4 best teams? No. I watched them play Louisville in the conference championship game, and they looked like a doo-doo sandwich. Had they got in, they would have been destroyed. But the problem is they got left out because Jordan Travis got hurt. Now, that was a travesty. It was awful. It was terrible. Good thing they got left out because they would have been embarrassed in the playoffs. But the problem was they got left out because Jordan Travis got hurt. But anybody with the brain the size of a peanut knows had Alabama lost Jalen Milroe, they would have still got in. Had Michigan lost J.J. McCarthy, they'd have still got in. Had Georgia lost Carson Beck, they'd have still got in. Had Texas lost Quinn Ewers, they'd have still got in. You get the picture on what I'm saying. You know, the teams outside of the ACC, if their quarterback gets hurt, they would still get in. But since it's the ACC and the quarterback gets hurt, you don't get in. So it wasn't necessarily just about getting left out because Jordan Travis got hurt, because they should have been left out. But also, if Bama would have lost Jalen Milroe, they should have been left out. If Georgia had lost Carson Beck, they should have been left out. And I know Georgia didn't make the playoffs, but you get my point. Had Georgia been eligible, if Carson Beck would have been hurt, they'd have still got in. So it wasn't about just a Jordan Travis injury. It was about fairness. If you're going to leave Florida State out because their quarterback gets hurt, then you should leave out Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever it is, because their quarterback gets hurt. So most people that were upset, they weren't upset because of the Jordan Travis injury. They were upset because they know if it would have happened to any other team, they would have still got in. As a matter of fact, last year during the season, at one point, you recall, Alabama played all three of their quarterbacks because their offense looked absolutely pitiful. So it was clear that had Milroe not played, they were not a playoff team. But I guarantee you, come playoff time, if Milroe had got hurt, they'd have still got in. And a lot of people just over-exaggerate it. For example, like Georgia and Clemson play this week. I've said since June, Georgia wins that game. Georgia should win that game. Georgia's the better team, and most of the time, the better team wins. So Georgia should win that game. But Georgia should win that game for one reason, because they're the better team. It has nothing to do with the conference they're in, nothing to do with the conference Clemson's in. It's because Georgia is the better team, and the better team typically, usually, most of the time, wins the game. But there are some people that don't know anything about football outside of their one team they follow. And if you were to ask those people who wins this game between Georgia and Clemson, their response will be, well, Georgia win the game because they're in the SEC. The conference they're in does not mean diddly squat. You don't go out there and the helmet say SEC versus ACC. The helmet says Georgia versus Clemson. If Georgia played in the Mountain West and Clemson played in Conference USA and they played, Georgia would still win the game because guess what? They're the better team. That's the way it goes. It has nothing to do with the conference they're in. It has to do with the fact that they're the better team. And you can be the better team whether you're in the SEC, the ACC, the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, doesn't matter. You're the better team. But too many people don't know nothing about football except for a certain conference or a certain team, so that's their answer. And those are the people that make you scratch your head and say, you're an idiot. And then you also have people that try to say the SEC schedule, oh, it's a meat grinder. Oh, it's so tough. First of all, that's not true. There ain't nobody in history of the world ever played a 12-game schedule and all 12 games are tough. It's just never happened. It's never going to happen because everybody plays 1, 2, sometimes 3, either extremely low FBS level teams or the really good FCS level teams. Either way, you're better than they are. So that's 2 or 3 games already on your schedule as automatic wins. If you've got automatic wins on your schedule, don't come to me and tell me your schedule is a meat grinder. That's a bunch of crap. Now, 5 or 6 games may be, like if you look at Florida's schedule this year, they've got probably the toughest 6-game schedule I've ever seen outside of 1980, I believe 7, Florida State had a tougher schedule. But outside of that 6-game stretch for Florida is tough. But guess what? That means they've got 6 games that are not so tough. So half your schedule does not make your schedule a meat grinder. It makes that half of your schedule a meat grinder. When you're playing Vanderbilt and you're playing Arkansas and you're playing Mississippi State and you're playing South Carolina, don't tell me every one of your games are tough. That's garbage. I don't give a darn what conference Vanderbilt plays in. They suck. I don't care what conference Arkansas plays in. They suck. I don't care what conference Mississippi State plays in. They suck. And when you play teams that suck, guess what? They suck. I don't care what conference they play in. They suck. If you play them, they still suck. You don't get credit for playing a tough team when your team you play in sucks. That's just the way it is. So if anybody thinks I'm a conference flying person. I'm not. If Florida State loses, I don't care. If North Carolina loses, I don't care. If NC State loses, I don't care. If Georgia Tech loses, I don't care. You kind of get the point. I'm not going to run through every single team in the conference. So I'm on here making predictions about a certain team. I'm giving my opinion on that team based on how good or bad I think they are. Not because I like them, not because they play in a certain conference. It's because of how I feel about them. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. But it's so good that college football is officially here. And now that it's Monday, we only have about 3 days until week 1 gets underway. And then, of course, the following weekend, the NFL season starts. And the NFL is going to start playing some Friday night games this year. So now the NFL will have Friday nights. They already have Thursday nights. They'll have Sundays and Mondays. And then, of course, late in the season, they have some Saturday games. So the NFL will now have games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this year. So don't be surprised if in the not too distant future you start seeing NFL games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as well. And I'm going to try my best to come on here the next couple of weeks and make a video talking about how college football needs to quit trying to be like the NFL, because all you're doing is hurting yourself, because you've never competed with them. You're never going to compete with them. So when you try, all you're doing is hurting yourself, because you can't beat the NFL at the NFL's game, and that's what college football is trying to do. Well, let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My late uncle was posthumously convicted of security fraud. Now he faces stiff penalties. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.